So the new theater is done again. This is definitely the final iteration of this theater as far as I'm concerned, because you know, we've definitely committed a lot of resources into this theater, and you know, we put a lot of thought into everything we did. It's finally where I think it should have been from the very beginning. When you're building your own theater, there's a lot of planning involved. There's a lot of decisions you got to make. Behind me, you can see it's much darker back here versus like how it was during my last home theater tour. When we were designing this theater, I honestly wanted to keep this as homey. I kind of wanted to keep it homey. I didn't want it to be like super dark or whatever. I guess I didn't have the courage, you could say, to like actually make this theater like pitch black or like matte black, or just make it extremely black. So obviously the biggest change in the theater was the color. The walls and the ceiling are completely painted matte black. This is the darkest paint color that we could find. Made by Benjamin Moore. It has an LRV of under 5. I think it's 4.7 or something. It's really low. And obviously there are things you can do to decrease the reflections on your screen. A lot of people put velvet on your walls and stuff, but we didn't want to go that far. You know, there are sort of limits that I'm willing to do to you know, there are only so many compromises I'm willing to do in my home theater to get it to perform well. I think this is at a really good spot where the reflections off the walls back to the screen have gone down, and the black levels are way better than they were before. And I'm really happy. So again, I'm not gonna go over every single little thing that's in this theater, because I sort of already did that in my last tour. It's very comprehensive. I'm also not going to do a demo, because I already did a demo on my last tour. So if you want to see a demo of this theater, it'll just be a little. Obviously, it'll be with the lighter walls, but it'll be basically the same. There is no big difference in sound. The demo wouldn't be very different even if I filmed one now. But if you want to check out a demo of this theater, I'm just going to point you to my last tour. I'm going to put a card up here or here. It's a great tour. It's kind of long, but I pretty much go over everything. I'm not going to go into detail of what I'm running in this theater, but you know, at a basic level, I'm using my projector is a Epson 6050 UB. My processor is an Anthem AVM70 8K. My amplifiers are Emotivas. I have 17 channels of amplification in this room, which covers my 11 bed layer speakers and my 6 overhead speakers. This is effectively an 11.4.6 system. In other words, 11 bed layer speakers, 4 subwoofers, and 6 overhead speakers. And I explained in my previous home theater tour how I came up with that number, even though my Anthem processor can only process 15 channels. If you're interested in finding out how I'm using my Anthem AVM70 to get an 11.4.6 system, watch my previous tour. I explain it all. As far as sound quality, obviously the other big change that we did there, if you look over there, there's now a Star Wars poster. There used to be a couple of French doors there, some like closet doors. That's where the equipment was kept that ran this theater, and in fact the entire house. So there was a bunch of networking stuff, you know, amplifiers, 3 receivers, a processor, a bunch of got gaming systems is there. I got everything. You know, I went through all that in the last tour. I'll show you later in this video. I'll kind of take you in there and give you a little bit of a tour of how that closet looks now, because it's way better. It functions way better, and it's actually working way better for not only the acoustics of this room. It just works better in general. The equipment's being kept cooler. The equipment running in here was actually heating up this room. So if you close these doors, the doors to the theater, it would actually, over a period of 2 or 3 hours, it would actually heat up the room enough where you could feel the difference. So now this room is a lot more comfortable. The only heat source you're really running in here is the projector itself, but it's honestly feels really nice and comfortable now. And the noise floor has gone down, which is a good thing for any of you audio geeks out there. Noise floor, the lower you can get your noise floor down, the better. So the only kind of fan noise I got going again is the projector. Most of the time I'm running the bulb at medium settings, which is bright enough for this particular screen. Again, it's a 165-inch screen. So this is the new theater. As you can see, massive changes have been made. With the theater is completely finished again. I had no idea that we'd be doing this huge update so quickly, but here we are. Again, it's kind of hard to film in this theater now that it's so dark. So if the picture's a little noisier, I apologize for that. I'm not going to upgrade all my equipment just to film this theater now. But as you can see, it is extremely dark. So the most notable change in the theater is the paint color, and it's a matte black. It is literally called black, and this is a Benjamin Moore color. It has an under 5 LRV, which is light reflection value, I believe. And we have it on the ceiling as well. And now that you walk in here, it looks even more like a real movie theater. It blends a lot better with the actual paneling, the acoustic paneling here, which is what we want. So in order to do this, we had to take all the paneling off, all the speakers off. We left the screen on, we didn't take that off. And all the speakers had to go. The subwoofers were removed. All the chairs were covered in plastic. And yeah, it was a huge endeavor to get this done. The results speak for themselves. It's incredible. You know how this is like literally the coolest room I've ever seen in my life, and this is my home theater. The performance of the projector is even better now because of the walls are reflecting less light. It is just my dream come true again. So a couple of other changes back here. Again, I'm going to refer you to my other home theater tour if you're interested in learning more about it. I'm not going to go over the entire room again because I did that very recently. I'm just going to cover what was changed. I forgot to mention all the trim is black down there. We left these steps these steps the same. I thought it was I always liked it. I wasn't going to paint this black. It's so nice and it's very nicely finished. I wasn't going to ruin that. And I also had a safety concern, right? When the movie's playing, I sort of wanted the steps to be visible at least. And this color, the natural wood color is more reflective. So you can actually see the step, which is good. So it's a safety thing. And it's also, I think it looks really good. In this incredibly dark room, it's also sort of stands out even more than ever. And I think it looks better than ever, honestly, these steps here. And there's a trim down there as well that it extends all the way to the other side of the room. Obviously there's 2 steps. The other step was kept the same as well. And again, we didn't do anything to the carpeting. The carpeting is exactly the same. All the speakers there are the same. Everything is the same. The door, yes, the door was painted black as well. But now this aluminum frame stands out a little more. But we weren't going to paint that. You can't paint that, I don't believe. And so, and there's a threshold there, aluminum or metal or steel. Maybe this is steel. I'm not sure. I'm not actually sure. It might be aluminum or steel. I'm not sure. But yeah, still rocking the 6050 UB. Love it. Fantastic. Been watching a lot of 3D movies. I made a whole video about 3D recently. You should check it out if you're interested in 3D, want to learn more about 3D. But anyway, here we go. So this is a new console table. My wife wanted to replace the one we had, and just got a couple of things on it. I have this iPad, I had this old Android tablet. It's specifically being used for just Control 4 stuff, so I can actually use this as another remote if I want. So it's hooked up to Control 4, and I can, if I wanted to turn on the theaters right here. So I can select anything I want. Also, this is my Darth Vader helmet. It's actually a wearable mask. You can actually wear this as a part of a costume, and I thought it looked cool because it's such a dark theater that I feel it looks pretty good. So yeah, I turned off these lights because it was just creating too much glare. This is where I charge my Control 4 remote there, and this is I actually bought this lightsaber in Galaxy's Edge in Orlando. This is the Obi-Wan lightsaber. A lot of people complain that I didn't have enough, that my theater was kind of sterile, so I decided let me just bring in a couple of things. And I'm a big Star Wars fan, so here's Darth Vader, Obi-Wan. So you got the dark side and the arguably my favorite Jedi, Obi-Wan. So yeah, got You know, I got some drawers in this console table. I got some remote controls in here. A lot of remotes in here. Tons of remotes. Remotes for pretty much the entire house almost. And this is where I keep all my 3D glasses. I have 11 pairs of 3D glasses, and so literally almost 11 people could watch a 3D movie at the same time, which is what I wanted to do. Again, I have a whole video about 3D that I recently posted. If you want to learn more about, like, you know, how to get 3D glasses, how to get into 3D, then, you know, that's the video for you. But again, my 3D glasses drawer is completely full of 3D glasses, and I actually had this thing made. This is a massive canvas print of the original Star Wars movie poster, and yeah, I just thought this is the one that started it all, so I thought I'd just have it. If I was gonna only have one like poster, it would be the original Star Wars one. And you know, you got Luke, you got Darth Vader up there, Princess Leia, all the big characters are represented. Obviously, you got Obi-Wan over there, TIE fighters, you know, X-Wings, all that stuff. So obviously we have the Star Wars poster here, and there used to actually be a door here. Now there's just wall. So this allowed us to do, something different with the space. So we decided to, my wife was thinking, well, we only have 10 seats. I know, what a problem, right? Only having 10 seats in your theater. But what if we wanted to have a couple more people? And I was like, I don't want to, she was talking about she wanted to put like a bench, like have basically like a bar behind this. And I was like, it's not going to work. It's just not enough space. And I wanted to maintain my separation between my speakers here. So I thought, well, we can just get a small bar table and just kind of put it out here, sort of like when we have we can accommodate 2 more people. Obviously they're not going to be reclining or anything, but you can kind of be sitting here. Obviously we would put the bar table around here, and you can actually face the screen. I'll probably show you how that looks in a second, but in some B-roll. But obviously not having the door here allowed us to do this. So it sort of works. I think it looks cool. It allowed me to have a little bit of at least one poster in here. We kind of like symmetry. I didn't want to add anything there. And here I wanted to keep these walls like purposeful and like very, like, because when you walk into a movie theater, like a real commercial movie theater, there's like no decorations. This is just like, there's just fabric on the walls. It's just very purposely built to just show you the movie. It's sort of like what I wanted to do with this theater. That's why it kind of felt sterile. But again, this is a home theater. Why not bring a few decorations in to kind of, you know, make it a little more homey? And I guess this is what we ended up doing. There have been other improvements that I've noticed. The bass, I feel, has gone. I don't know why, and I can't explain exactly why. I got a huge bump in bass when the closet was when we closed up the closet wall. So I remember I was working in there and we had a movie, pretty loud volume, and I did feel that the bass was accumulating in that closet space. I don't know, something with the room boundaries or closing off this room, closing off that wall to the old closet really improved bass. It's super bassy in here, like more than because I remember. So I think the combination of me just tweaking with the bass a little more, and I basically had to like just up the gain on all the subs. I did run ARC and the Anthem ARC like auto room correction program. Every time it runs it's very conservative with bass. There are some tweaks you can do within the GUI. Again, I have another video about that. But I always feel that I gotta up the bass significantly to get it to where I feel that it's, you know, impacting you. If you're an audio purist, maybe you might want to just go with whatever Anthem spits out, because it's probably technically where it should be. But is it fun? It's not fun. I don't find it fun to have the bass down to where you can barely feel it in your seat. You want to have that tactile bass. And this, initially I was concerned that the amount of subwoofers that I have in here, I have 2 PB3000s and 2 SB2000s, was not enough. And I'm happy to report that this room has more than enough bass. In fact, you can feel it in your seat. Even in the back row, you can feel it quite well, because obviously I have subs on, you know, in the front and the back. I do have plans to potentially one day get another set of PB3000s for the front of the room, but I don't really feel that it's necessary at this point. The only reason I would do it is to possibly, get a better seat-to-seat bass response, and also I'd be able to lower the gain on each sub, just because I'd be able to spread it a little more, and I wouldn't have to run them so hard. I'm not even pushing them nearly as hard as I could push them, and I'm getting more than enough bass. So bass has been really good. Huge improvement with the closing of the closet, and obviously it's there's been aesthetic improvements as well. We have like a little bar back there with a couple of seats, which is kind of nice in case we want to have a couple more people. And there's a little space in the front here where we were going to just get some kids like Pottery Barn chairs in case we had a even bigger, a bunch of we can accommodate up to 16 people in this theater if you count room for kids in the front. It's a big room. Again, it's 21 by 21 feet, 10-foot ceilings in the front, 9-foot ceilings in the back. It's a very good space. It doesn't feel small. It feels ample. And a lot of people say that when a room is the square shape, it's not ideal for bass. I personally have had no problems. I've been able to tweak out the bass to where it just sounds incredible. So this is my rec room right now. This is the way, I don't think I really showed anybody this, but it's actually kind of picked up right now. So I figured I would just go ahead and show you guys. This is not done. We're gonna actually have a air hockey table here, another arcade machine, something. I don't know what's happening over there too well, but we're actually gonna get new bar stools put in over there. But the home theater in here is set up. It's already done. I went with heights, as you can see, and some just LCRs. This is all Def Tech. This is stuff that I got, good deals on, so I decided to go with actually their surrounds are on the ceiling. No, you're not supposed to do that, but I don't know if you can see, they're not like you can put a surround speaker over there in that wall, and we wanted architectural speakers in here, so I had to go with surround speakers on the ceiling. It's an empty room right now. There might be a gym in there one day, but who knows. But yeah, I guess you guys want to see the rack more than anything. So this is this is the audio rack. As you can see, the theater is straight that way. If you pulled a Hulk and went right through that wall, you'd be in the theater. There used to be doors there, and the closet used to be much smaller, but we just kind of expanded this closet, and now it's really big. I can kind of walk in through here. The video quality might go down because it's good, but as you can see, there's still a little bit of, the wire management is, it's still a huge pain. There's a lot of wires leading into here, and yes, criticize me all you want. It's just not a priority for me to do wire management. It's working, and that's all that I care about. So whatever, you can screw me all you want in the comments about the wire management. I just honestly don't care. It's not a priority for me as long as everything is working. I got Ethernet here. There's my modem and stuff. But at least you can get a look at. I can get behind here and work if I have to. There's room enough for me to do that. So that's good for me. Let me go over here. These switches here, they're actually fans, extraction fans on there, and another one over there, and these little switches turn them on. And if I really need extra cooling, I can, but we've been doing fine. We put these vents in here on 1, 2, 3, 4. That's providing enough ventilation where that I really don't even need to run those. I don't know. I haven't run I haven't used this closet during the summertime, so it's good that we have them. But for now, I haven't. It's been 70-ish low. It says 78 right now, but it's usually 75 degrees in here, depending on how much equipment's being used at any one time. There are some. So let me. The racks are exactly the same. I'm not going to go over the entire racks again, but again, no changes here. I am running. There are some fans running in here, so that's at least getting some air movement within it. There's a couple of AC Infinity fans above receivers, and there's another one there as well. can sort of see it there. And you know, one of the biggest changes is I added an Xbox Series X in here, which I haven't really used that much, which, you know, but it's probably not getting the most ventilation. I honestly don't use it very much, but when I do use it, I keep this door open. If I'm gonna game in here, I'll just open the closet door so it gets more ventilation. But if not, you know, if I forget, it probably wouldn't die. It'd probably be okay. There's the Control 4 up here, and again, if you wanna, I go a little more in depth in my previous in my previous tour. So if you wanna like get a better glimpse of my racks, you can see it there. But as you can see, the closet is much more spacious. I can even walk around on this side, and there's a Series S up here. I have to put it up here. I had to put the Series S up here because it was the only way for the signal, the remotes, the controller signal to reach my first floor. And because having it in here was like being inside a Faraday cage, it just wasn't good for the signal. But if I put it up here, and it worked. So I guess I wanted to address a couple of, there have been some comments about my last theater tour. Most comments have been very positive. There have been some comments, I've had a lot of comments about the color of the room. Yes, you know, and it has been addressed, and it was always something we wanted to do. I guess a lot of people asked, do the acoustic panels help? Yes, they do. I took some measurements before and after the acoustic panels, and the RT60 is where exactly you want to have like a nice like flat slope like this, and it's definitely, I am getting that. The advice that I followed, again, Anthony Gramani, worked. Did I follow his advice to the T? It's not an exact, I didn't follow it exact. I mean, his design was slightly different to what I actually implemented. I only bought stuff that I could buy like off the shelf. I'm not gonna make my own like acoustic paneling. It's just, I don't have the time to do that. So I had to use whatever GIK had provided on their website to make this happen. And again, a lot of people mentioned the whole bass thing. I think I just addressed that. A lot of people agree with me with the fact that, you know, about the projector, the fact that I went with a 6050 UB Epson, you know, and I decided to get probably a last generation projector in spite of the newer ones that don't have 3D. A lot of people agreed with that. Some people said, no, you know, in a theater like of this caliber, you should just get the best projector that you can. The only thing I'm going to say about that is you have to do what you're comfortable with. Some people have different comfort levels with the amount of spending. Trust me, we have spent so much money in this room that it is, I don't even want to like tally it up because I would probably have a heart attack. I think we spent plenty of money, and we could have spent a hell of a lot more. We could have spent, you know, a third of the budget on the projector. Again, I was talking about in my last video about diminishing returns. I feel that we hit the point of diminishing returns where it sort of flattens out. You know, we're right on that point where you go any more, you have to spend way more to get more performance than what I spent in this theater. I wanted to be able to watch 3D movies because you can go to any like multiplex in the country and they're going to be able to show you a 3D movie, and I wanted to actually have the same capability in this room. To me, it was a priority to have a projector that was capable of 3D. I just wanted a good performing projector that was bright, that could handle HDR, and at the same time could give me 3D. And I'm perfectly happy with my Epson. I have no regrets on that decision. In my last video, I talked a lot about MadVR and Lumagen. Those are the video processors out there, and how I was trying to make my case how that they're probably not very useful. In my opinion, my personal opinion, they're not as useful as you would think. Again, like I mentioned in my previous tour, even if you have an Epson 6050, which doesn't have dynamic tone mapping, just having the HDR slider right in the middle is good enough for about 99% of movies. There is the outlier, like I did show in that scene from Harry Potter that they always show, that has like, he's like waving the wand and he's like fighting Voldemort or whatever, and it's like a torture scene. Obviously, it's not going to be able to do that. For one scene, I've seen like 100 movies in this theater, and I have never had to adjust that setting. Like, not even once. The only time where I felt that there was a benefit for adjusting that HDR setting was that one scene from Harry Potter, and I can tell you that was one scene. It did look blown out when I had it in that middle setting. You had to kind of, I think I showed it, you had to take it to like 12. You had to you did have to tweak it to get it to look okay. Again, 99% of movies you don't have to do anything. I'm gonna stand by that. I think MadVR is good. I mean, if you absolutely, what is it value not having to like tweak the picture ever? I have never tweaked it. I have never moved the HDR slider once, and I've always been satisfied with the picture in this particular theater with an older 6050 UB projector that only handles HDR10. So I'm going to just leave it at that. MadVR is fine. If you have the money, you want to do it. Lumagen is also another good option. It's a little cheaper, and I've heard good things about that one. I've actually thought about getting a Lumagen one day if I could find one. Maybe perhaps a gently used one or something. I think I've gotten some comments about Kaleidescape. Obviously, once any like other YouTuber puts out a video about Kaleidescape, people freak out and say that it's super expensive, just like MadVR. Again, these are like high-end products meant for people with a lot of disposable income that just don't care. They either don't want to build their own movie server, which is not that hard really. There's a learning curve, and I'm not going to go into that. What are my thoughts on Kaleidescape? Why don't I have one? I guess for one, it's cost. I have the skills to build my own movie server where I can use like Zydu or even Plex to play my own movie collection. I think Kaleidescape, I mean, again, it's for the high-end like home theater client that just doesn't want to deal with that. They just want to buy an off-the-shelf solution that works. But I was looking at their prices the other day, and that the player alone is $4,000. You would think that they would include some kind of hard drive capacity in that thing. If that player was about $4,000 and included an 8 terabyte hard drive like within it, so that you can just be within the Kaleidescape ecosystem for $4,000, I would consider it. So I would be like, okay, I can buy a movie on iTunes or Amazon for $20 or $30, and if I want to watch it and not wait for it to be available on disc. Or I can go on my Kaleidescape, which will give me the best possible version of it. I could see myself spending about $4,000 on a Kaleidescape if it included 8 terabytes of hard drive space. Because what do they cost? An 8 terabyte hard drive is like $80 these days, maybe $100. It's like nothing. But the Kaleidescape 8 terabyte like server is $5,000, which is ridiculous, and I just can't get over that because I know how much a hard drive costs. And yes, I know that they put R&D into this thing and they've made it so that it's plug and play and that it just works, but that's not a lot of space for $5,000. If it was like 80 terabytes for $5,000, I could see that, or maybe 40 terabytes, but it's 8. You know, it's just not, I don't see the value there, and I'm just never, at these current prices, and I know a lot of people complain about it, I just can't, unless they included some kind of storage in the player. You should be able to buy the player and be able to watch the darn thing, a movie, without having to spend $5,000 on like a server. That's just my opinion, but so yeah, not going to be buying a Kaleidescape anytime soon. I'm absolutely thrilled with how this theater has come out and how this is the way it's going to stay for the long term. I can't imagine doing anything other than maybe upgrading the odd like component in the actual equipment closet. Other than that, I'm perfectly happy with this theater, and I have no plans to upgrade it further. But this is going to be the home of my channel. But anyway, if you have any questions about anything in this theater, feel free to leave them in the comments. It really helps a lot if you can like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.